A powerful crime lord erupts at a waitress, but her three-word reply makes the entire restaurant freeze in shock. The crystal chandeliers of Valentino's cast a golden glow across the dining room, an atmosphere of old-world elegance that screamed exclusivity. This was a sanctuary for politicians, business tycoons, and those who operated in the city's shadows. Tonight, like every Tuesday, the corner booth was reserved for a man whose name made seasoned criminals lower their voices: Dante Moretti. At 32, he commanded an empire built on loyalty and fear. His perfectly tailored suit and the Patek Philippe on his wrist were worth more than most people's yearly salaries. Dante was power personified. "Mr. Moretti, your usual." The head waiter approached with practiced deference. Dante didn't look up from his phone. "You know what I want, Antonio." Antonio retreated, the relief in his posture obvious. Everyone knew the stories. Families who crossed the Morettis simply disappeared. Business owners who refused protection found their establishments burned to the ground. Dante's reputation did the work for him. Sarah Mitchell pushed through the kitchen doors, balancing 3 plates with practiced ease. At 25, she was saving every penny for her final year of nursing school, working double shifts at Valentino's for the exceptional tips. She'd noticed the corner booth was occupied again by the mysterious man who always sat alone, ordered the same thing, and left a tip larger than the bill itself. She didn't know who he was and didn't care to know. In her world, people were people. As Sarah delivered entrees, she heard a raised voice from the corner. The man in the expensive suit was glaring at his plate, his expression thunderous. "This is unacceptable." Dante's voice carried across the suddenly silent restaurant. "I asked for the meat medium rare. This is practically raw." Antonio rushed over, his face pale. "Mr. Moretti, I apologize profusely. I'll have Chef Michel—" "I don't care what Michel does." Dante pushed the plate away. "This is incompetence." The entire restaurant had stopped. Waiters froze mid-step. Sarah watched, her jaw tightening. She'd seen the plate. The meat had been cooked perfectly. This wasn't about the food. This was about a man used to everyone cowering at his feet. Before she could stop herself, Sarah walked toward the corner booth. "Sarah, no." Antonio's whispered warning went unheeded. She stopped beside Dante's table, her blue eyes meeting his dark ones without a trace of fear. "Is there a problem, sir?" Her voice was calm, professional. Dante looked up, surprised by the interruption. "The problem," he said, his voice dangerously quiet, "is that I'm paying for quality and receiving garbage. The meat is cooked exactly as you ordered it," Sarah stated, not breaking eye contact. "I saw it myself before Antonio brought it out." The restaurant held its collective breath. No one spoke to Dante Moretti this way. "Are you telling me I'm wrong?" Dante stood slowly, his 6'3" frame towering over her. Sarah tilted her head, then spoke 3 words that would change both their lives forever. "You don't own me." The silence that followed was absolute. Dante Moretti, the man who controlled an empire through fear, was speechless. For the first time in a decade, he felt something other than cold calculation. He felt fascination. "What's your name?" His voice had lost its sharp edge. "Sarah, and your meat is medium rare. But if you'd like it cooked differently, I'd be happy to ask the chef to prepare another plate." A ghost of a smile touched Dante's lips. "That won't be necessary." He sat back down, his eyes never leaving her face. "You're right, the meat is fine." The restaurant seemed to exhale collectively. As Sarah turned to walk away, her heart pounding, Dante's voice stopped her. "You work here often?" 5 nights a week." "Good," he said, a flicker of warmth in his eyes. "Very good." Back in the kitchen, her co-worker Marco was frantic. "Do you have any idea who that is?" "That's Dante Moretti. He runs half the city's underground. People disappear when they cross him, Sarah." Sarah felt ice water flood her veins. She hadn't known. And now, it was too late. 3 days later, Sarah arrived for her shift to a grave-faced Antonio. "Mr. Moretti requested you as his server tonight," he said, his hands trembling. "Please, Sarah, just be polite." At 8 p.m. exactly, Dante Moretti walked in, flanked by 2 bodyguards. He wore another impeccable suit, and his eyes found her immediately across the crowded room. She approached his table, her composure a fragile shield. "Good evening, Mr. Moretti." Sarah, the way he said her name made her pulse quicken. "I was hoping you'd be here." After a moment of tense silence, Dante asked, "Aren't you going to ask if I want my usual? I assumed you'd tell me if you wanted something different." "You assume a lot about me." "I assume nothing, Mr. Moretti. I don't know you." His smile widened. "No, you don't. But you're not afraid of me." "It concerns me," Sarah said honestly. "Power without accountability usually does." A genuine laugh escaped him. "You're remarkable." He grew serious. "Most people see a title, a threat. You see a man who was rude about his dinner. Weren't you?" "I was having a bad day," he admitted. "That's an explanation, not an excuse." "Apology accepted." She softened slightly. "Now, what would you like to eat?" "Have dinner with me." Sarah blinked. "I'm working." "After your shift, and call me Dante." Every instinct screamed that this man was dangerous. That wouldn't be appropriate. Why not? Because I break boundaries? Because my family name is synonymous with organized crime? "I know you're important enough that everyone here treats you like you could destroy their lives," she countered. "And does that frighten you?" "It concerns me." "Then let me show you the man, not the reputation." Dante's intensity was a physical force. "One dinner, one conversation. If you still want nothing to do with me after that, I'll never ask again." She should have said no, but there was a vulnerability in his eyes she couldn't ignore. "One dinner," Sarah heard herself say. "After my shift, somewhere public." Dante's smile could have melted steel. "The cafe 2 blocks from here, 11:00 p.m. The rest of her shift passed in a blur. At 10:45, she changed into a simple blue dress, her hands shaking. She met Dante at Yepes Cafe, a 24-hour spot popular with students. He was already in a booth, his bodyguards waiting outside. "Why me?" Sarah asked after they ordered coffee. "You could have anyone." "Because everyone else lies," Dante said, his voice softer than she'd ever heard it. "Every conversation is calculated, every smile is fake. For 10 years, people have told me what they think I want to hear. And then you looked me in the eye and refused to back down. You just stood your ground." "You were being unreasonable," she reminded him. "Completely," he laughed. "But for 3 days I couldn't stop thinking about those 3 words. You don't own me. Maybe someone should have said that to me a long time ago." He told her about inheriting his father's empire at 22 after a rival family's attack. "It wasn't much of a choice," he said. "Lead the family or watch it crumble. Do you regret it?" Every day, the answer was immediate and raw. "I've built a reputation on fear, because in my world, weakness gets you killed. And now, I'm sitting here with a nursing student and I can't remember the last time I felt this normal." Sarah reached across the table, her hand covering his. The moment her skin touched his, electricity arced between them. She started to pull away, but he held her hand in place. "Sarah," he whispered, "you should run from me. Walk out that door and never look back. Is that what you want?" "What I want," his grip tightened, "is dangerous for both of us." Just then, his phone buzzed insistently. He glanced at the screen, and his expression went cold and hard. The vulnerable man was gone, replaced in an instant by the crime lord. "I have to go. There's a situation." He stood abruptly, leaving a wad of cash on the table. "Take a cab, please. Let me worry about you getting home safely." At the door, he turned back. "You were right. I don't own you." His smile was fierce and possessive. "But I'm going to spend every day trying to earn the right to be in your life." Then he was gone, leaving Sarah with a racing heart and the terrifying realization that she was already in too deep. The next 2 weeks passed in a blur of texts and late-night calls. They met for coffee, peeling back the layers of armor they both wore. He learned about her dream of working in pediatric oncology. She learned he secretly donated to children's hospitals. One night, Sarah was working a private gala at Valentino's when she saw Dante across the room, devastating in a black tuxedo. His eyes were locked on her. He crossed the room with predatory grace. "Dance with me," he said, his voice low. "I'm working, Dante. The coordinator owes me a favor, one dance." She placed her hand in his, and he led her to the dance floor. His arm slid around her waist, pulling her close. They moved together perfectly. "You're changing me, Sarah," he murmured. "I can't stop thinking about you. You've become the first thing on my mind when I wake up and the last thing before I sleep." Suddenly, his entire body went rigid. "Don't turn around," he commanded. "Just keep dancing." But she'd already seen them. 3 men near the bar, watching with cold, predatory eyes. Who are they? Trouble. The tall one is Marco Russo, a rival family. Russo started moving toward them. "Moretti," he said, his smile not reaching his eyes. His gaze slid to Sarah. "New acquisition?" Dante's body coiled with rage. "Careful, Marco. You're speaking about a lady." "My apologies," Russo mocked. "I didn't realize the Moretti family had started recruiting from the waitstaff." "Walk away, Russo." Dante's voice dropped to a lethal whisper. "While you still can." "Or what?" Russo laughed. "Your family's reign is ending, Moretti." The ballroom had gone silent. "This isn't the place." Dante's words were ice. "But soon we're going to have a conversation about respect." Russo walked away, and the party's atmosphere shattered. "I need to go," Dante said, stepping back from her. "You need to stay away from me, Sarah. I thought I could keep you separate from this world, but I was wrong. Russo saw us. That makes you a target. A weakness he can exploit. That's not your decision to make. If it keeps you safe, yes." His voice cracked. "You're the first good thing I've had in a decade. I won't let my world touch you." "It already has," she insisted. His phone buzzed. He looked at the screen, and the color drained from his face. "Russo's men just hit one of my warehouses. This is a declaration of war." He was already moving toward the exit. "Stay here. Stay in public. I'll have someone watch your apartment." And then he was gone. For 3 days, there was silence. Sarah went through the motions of her life, her phone a constant source of anxiety. The security detail outside her apartment doubled. Then, on the 4th morning, news alerts flooded her phone. A massive fire at a warehouse in the North End. Federal investigations into the Russo family. Marco Russo had fled the city. Finally, a text from Dante. "Can I see you? Tonight. The cafe." She found him in their usual booth, looking utterly exhausted. "You look terrible," she said softly. A surprised laugh escaped him. Always honest. He took her hand. "I'm sorry for the silence. Russo, it's over." "Did you?" "No," he said, his eyes meeting hers. "I wanted to, but I made him a deal instead. Leave the city, and I'd let him walk away intact. Because of you. The man you see, that man doesn't solve everything with violence, and I'm trying to be him." Tears pricked her eyes. "That must have been difficult." "You have no idea," he admitted. "But Sarah, I need you to understand. Being with me comes with risks, security details, limited privacy. It's not the normal life you deserve. You're trying to push me away again. I'm trying to give you a choice. I won't lie to you. My world is dangerous." "And if I choose it anyway?" Sarah asked, her voice firm. "I choose you, Dante. All of you. The dangerous part and the gentle part. The risks feel smaller than the thought of living without you." Dante stood abruptly, pulling her up with him. His hands framed her face and his lips crashed against hers in a kiss that was equal parts desperation and reverence. When they broke apart, both breathless, he rested his forehead against hers. "I love you," the words tumbled out. "I know it's too soon, but I love you." "I love you too," she whispered back. "Come home with me," he said, his voice rough. "Move in here, where I know you're protected." In the months that followed, their lives intertwined. Sarah moved into the penthouse and focused on her finals. Dante began the slow, frustrating work of legitimizing his family's empire, selling off illicit operations and expanding his legal enterprises in real estate and investments. He was reshaping what it meant to be a Moretti, all for her. 2 weeks later, Sarah walked across the stage at her nursing school graduation. In the front row, Dante sat, his expression a mixture of pride and fierce love. After the ceremony, he swept her into his arms. "I'm so proud of you," he murmured. Then, before she could process it, he dropped to one knee, right there in the middle of the crowd. He opened a velvet box, revealing a stunning vintage ring. "Sarah Mitchell," his voice carried across the suddenly silent hall. "6 months ago, you changed my world with 3 words. You made me want to be better. I don't own you, and I never will, but I'm hoping you'll choose to be mine anyway. Will you marry me?" Tears streamed down her face as she dropped to her knees in front of him. "Yes. God, yes." The hall erupted in applause as he slid the ring onto her finger. He kissed her, a promise of a future they would build together. A year later, they were married in Valentino's, the place where it all began. The corner booth was gone, replaced by an altar. Surrounded by an unlikely mix of mob associates and nursing school friends, they exchanged vows. "Sarah," Dante said, his voice thick with emotion, "you are my salvation, my conscience, and my greatest blessing. I promise to spend every day earning your love." "Dante," she replied, "you taught me that love can transform even the darkest situations. I choose you, all of you, every day for the rest of our lives." As they swayed together during their first dance, Sarah looked up at the man who was now her husband. The feared crime lord had been reshaped by love, learning that true strength lay not in fear, but in restraint and redemption. That night, in their penthouse overlooking the city, they were finally alone. "We really did this," she savored the words. "Built something real from that disastrous first meeting. Best disaster of my life." Dante kissed her softly. Later, wrapped in each other's arms, Sarah thought about the journey. From a waitress who refused to back down to the wife of a reformed tycoon. From 3 words of defiance to a lifetime of love. It was an impossible story, but it was their reality. Her beautiful, complicated, hard-won reality, and she wouldn't change a single moment of it.